Watch it now.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What a performance that was.
Wow, great viewers. It's time for Sportsville. My name is George Alua. I'm back on the saddle. Kudos to my colleagues, Tony Ubani, Oluchi Tobes Tobechuku, my producer, my cameraman, everyone that did a wonderful job during the Nations Cup. I was in the land of the Pharaohs, but I was following them closely. And when I came back, I started the analysis. But today, Tony will be doing all the analysis alongside Oluchi Tobes Tobechuku. But we will not be talking so much about football. We'll still look at the Nations Cup, no doubt about that. But don't forget that another North African country is hosting Africa's own Olympic. Talk about the All-Africa Games that will be starting later this month. We'll take a look at that, the preparation of Team Nigeria ahead of that competition. It's a loaded package as usual. We'll talk about other sports too, what is happening in basketball. So a lot to take away in today's Sportsville as usual. But as usual, let's take this break. When we come back, we'll fire on all cylinders. Tony is here, Oluchi Tobes Tobechuku is here, and it is Sportsville. My name is George Allo.
I started on the street, just like everyone growing up. I started on the street playing without football shoes, and I remember my first football shoes. I remember I had to go wake up my dad to help me for money to buy a football shoe, which he did, and then I started in a club called Starlets, just an academy. It's called Starlets. It's based in Surulere, and then someone discovered me from a team flying sport in Festac, and that was how they took me out of the country to start my professional career, which I did in Slovenia. And then from there, I've been going higher. And then at the time I dropped, I had so many setbacks. When I moved to Spain, but then because I always believe I'm a warrior, so I fought hard, to be who I am. But I mean, it's all God, really. I mean, I'm really, really happy, When I saw the picture yesterday, I was like, wow. I was in shock, Because the thing is, after I helped him, he came to my house, and then when I saw him, we talked and everything. He had something in his head, He knew he wanted to do this thing, So I wasn't really surprised when I saw the picture, but I was just surprised at how clean and what he did with the money. So everything he said, he did that, He has been trying to reach me. Trying to reach me through my friend, because I have a lot of busy schedules, and so I haven't been able to stay in touch that much. But he's been trying to reach my friend. But when I saw the pictures, I was really, really happy. I'm a fan of our food, like all our food. Pounded yam, jollof rice, goat meat. Like I'm a big fan of our food. Like everything has to do. I'm a big fan of everything that has to do with Nigeria. So. I don't have any specific, I like to eat Nigerian food, like good food. I wish I have someone, I can bring a cook, to come make that for me every day, But I like to, I make that also at home, I'm a big fan of our music, I'm a big fan of our food, I'm a big fan of our people. If in Israel, in my city, if I hear that you're from Nigeria, I look for you. I listen to our music a lot. I listen to music. I mix them, hip hop, Afrobeat, and all that. But anything Nigeria, I'm a big fan of it.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that one. That Getting Personal with John Ogu is our special service to you. We do it week in, week out. On that note, now let me introduce my guest. Let me start with baby of the house, Oluchi Tobes Tobechuku. Oluchi, welcome to Sportsville.
Thank you so much, George. It's a pleasure to be here, and we are back here wearing the captain's band. It was good last week playing inside along myself as an ordinary player.
Who says you guys are ordinary players? You are the made men because you do all the analysis. I only anchor. On that note, let me welcome Tony Wokoma Yagazie Obani to the show.
George, you're very, very welcome to the show. It's a very beautiful thing. And indeed, we have a lot of menu, a lot of sweet things on the menu to give to our viewers. But I must tell you that at least the team is complete. We have you on the saddle, and we really missed you while you were away.
All right, thanks to my colleagues. You guys did a good job. I was watching you from the land of the Pharaohs. We'll still talk about the Nations Cup, the performance of Super Eagles. Moving forward, coaches are moving. Moroccan coach has moved to Saudi Arabia. Basta has just thrown in the towel, said he has had enough with Bafana. All that on the show. But as usual, let's start with top news. When we come back, then we'll talk about the Super Eagles. We'll start with table tennis and tell you that the president of the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation, Engineer Ishaku Tikon, has said that Nigeria would continue to raise the standard when it comes to organizing international tennis championship. You know, we are hosting the 2019 ITTF Africa Cup. It started last Friday in Lagos, and it's a wonderful one. The engineer, who is the leader of Nigerian Table Tennis, said, in terms of an organization, everything will be world class. You know, the tournament started on Friday actually, and it will end tomorrow. And I think Nigeria has been doing very well in table tennis. Tony?
Absolutely, George. I think table tennis has just raised the bar, you know, when it comes to other sports, you know, especially football that has always been, you know, at the vanguard of all other sports. But table tennis have really, you know, been holding its own, and not just in terms of measurement with the North Africans, especially Egypt, but in terms of producing stars. You know, when you talk about tennis, you talk about Aruna Kodri, who today is also, you know, the defending champion with Meshrif of Egypt, and all eyes are on the two players, you know, one other Algerian, you know, that has equally shown class and pace, you know, on the table. And I believe that at the end of this, you know, definitely Nigeria has, you know, somehow, you know, submitted itself to show that indeed it's a maker of table tennis in Africa.
Away from table tennis, let's take you to Scrabble and tell you that organizers of the maiden edition of Mind Game Scrabble Premier League have announced a set of innovations ahead of the 2020 editions. In fact, there will be two divisions, Division 1 and Division 2, and everything is pointing to the fact that things will get better. Ahead of the team, MGI Lukman Owolabi revealed that a total prize money of 7 million naira will be available for Division 1 and 2, and intending players will register with a fee of 100,000 and then another 75,000 naira for Division 2. So if you are registering as a team for Division 1, you pay 100,000 naira, and if you are registering for Division 2, you pay 75,000 naira. The 2020 edition will run from February to September in 4 different venues across Nigeria, after which 2 teams will be promoted to the top division, while the 2 lowest ranked teams will be relegated. That's talking about Scrabble. And I tell you that my producer, Tayo Gusheye, has actually been pushing and ensuring that Scrabble remains on the front burner, especially in Sportsville. I think that's a good one coming from Scrabble.
Yes, it is indeed a very good one. That's a soft spot.
And that is a sport that we can actually dominate.
Yes, we can. We have very intelligent people in Nigeria, and if you harness it, you know, and you know, just tailor it into this particular sports, you find out that even in the world map, Nigeria has been mentioned because of Scrabble. So it's not enough to just go for competitions every now and then, but you must have a league that will sustain these players and make them more active. I mean, maiden edition of this particular league,
yes.
Premier League, I must say kudos to them. You know, players will be more involved. They will pair themselves as teams, even if they don't have, you know, existing teams, and individuals can even come on their own and register in the lower division. Okay, that's a good one. Scrabble getting better in our country, Nigeria. And from Scrabble, let's take you to basketball. The Nigerian Basketball Federation has advised stakeholders to focus more on the positive being recorded in the sports rather than the drawback of what happened during AFCON, where Nigerian players had to travel by road to Mali. They said that they've been doing well, so because of paucity of funds, they weren't able to fly the home-based players that were in Mali, and they lost all their matches, and by the time they were coming back, news was making the round that they got stranded in the Nigeria-Niger border, and at the end of the day, the players were told to cough out their bills for the road trip. I think that's a sad one. If MBBF, yes, we agree, we'll focus on the positives, but sometimes when the federation does not perform well, Tony, they don't expect us to keep quiet.
Yeah, George, I think for you to plan for the future, you must always talk about the past. And of course, talking about the past, it's also, it helps you to learn from the past and correct the mistakes of the past. That's the only way you can plan perfectly for the future. I think the MBBF have equally admitted their mistakes and errors they recorded during that fiasco. That
you call it a fiasco?
Yeah, it was a fiasco. Thinking about players taking care of themselves and all the troubles that they went through, and that also reflected in their play. Now that the MBBF itself had come out to say that people should focus on the future, but I think it's the right thing to do. But then the administrative head of the MBBF should know that such ugly mistakes should not repeat itself, because basketball is a game that Nigeria has everything to dominate, and of course we have seen the green lights that they showed last time at the Olympics, and of course the women equally doing absolutely well in it.
Okay, the women doing well, and we hope they will defend their title later this month in Dakar during the Afro Basket Championship for women. The Tigress will be hitting Dakar later this week. Well, that's top news. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to fire on all cylinders. And my colleagues here, they are doing very well. Tony is in the house, and Oluchi Tobes Tobechukwu equally here at Sportsville. All right, welcome back. We are still hosting on Sportsville, and we'll talk about the Nations Cup now. Like we told you, we'll still take a look at what happened in Egypt, and you can see that the fallout of the Nations Cup. Moroccan coach Hervé Renard has thrown in the towel. He has since moved over to Saudi Arabia. The coach of Uganda resigned and took over another club. And the latest to quit the stage was Stade Basta, the coach of South Africa, Bafana. He has resigned from his job. But here, our own man, Gernot Rohr, is still celebrating the Golden Bros he won, but some soccer analysts still believe that he is not the best for us. And one man that is bitter with Rohr, believing that he cannot deliver for Nigeria, is Onochie Anibeze, the veteran journalist, the editor of Saturday Vanguard. He told us off camera saying that Rohr does not read matches. That was what let us down at the World Cup, and it was what let us down again at the Nations Cup. Tony, do you agree with your friend and brother, so to speak, Onochie Anibeze?
Yeah, I think Onochie is somebody who knows. When you talk about football, Onochie knows, because he played the football, and of course he reads games. If there is anything that has catapulted Onochie in his career in sporting journalism, I think it's football. He knows it. He knows the technical inputs. Onochie reads games, and I know his relationship with former Super Eagles technical advisor Clemens Westerhoff, Joe Bonfrey. Onochie was instrumental to Christian Chukwu, getting a national coach in Kenya and in Lebanon. That's to tell you
unofficial backroom staff of this coach.
Onochie has gone. He understands the game. You give it to him. When Onochie watches game, for 15 minutes.
He said after watching Nigeria against Burundi and against Guinea that he knew we were not going to win the Nations Cup.
He said it. He just said it and said that this team, that the least or how far this team can go, maybe they can just get to the semi-final. I give it to Onochie. And indeed, just so many people have been talking about General. And of course, we can see coaches, some coaches even dropping, resigning, while some federations are sacking them. It's in Raw. By the next time we play the Nations Cup, Rohr will be telling you, that the team is a young team. It's a young team. They are learning, and I don't know how far it's going to take them.
This team, are they dwarf?
They aren't. When you look at it,
because this is a man that has been on saddles for 2.5 years. He has taken us to the World Cup. He has taken us to the nation. Won't they grow?
You have coaches, that are challenged. You have coaches that they have set a benchmark for themselves, and once they don't nick it, they don't need anybody to tell them to take a walk. But we have a Gernot Rohr that this is the first time he's even getting a medal in terms of the bronze that he got. Yes. So it's an accomplishment for him. And he also said it that it was the first time he was even beating
Alan Gires, his teammate in Bordeaux.
So it's quite an achievement for him. But we were looking at it from our own side as Nigerians. And what is even making a whole lot of Nigerians to be surprised is that they feel the NFF is on the side of Gernot Rohr. If the NFF feels that it still has a whole lot to offer We aren't saying it like that. A whole lot of Nigerians are not saying it like that because we've given him the opportunity. There was a World Cup in Russia. We saw the silly basic mistakes he made. He cannot even manage his bench. When Janet Rod tells a player to warm up, a layman automatically knows who is going out and coming in. So it shouldn't be like that. I hope that has his losing matches. He's getting experience, but unfortunately, it shouldn't be on our own team, the Super Eagles. I hope that our players too, the more they get exposed, the more, just like Osimhen made a very good movement, they should be able to bring it and replicate it in the national team.
Okay, talking about Genotra, one man that analyzed and shared his thoughts with us exclusively, as we do on this show, is Fan Ndubuoke, another veteran journalist, the man that is the most successful chairman of Heartland Football Club of Owerri. Fan is a friend of Sportsville. He spoke to us exclusively from Owerri. Let's hear from Fan. Hello, Fan Ndubuoke. I hope the fan is rotated, like the late Mko Abiola would say.
I, first of all, want to congratulate Nigeria for winning bronze at the recently concluded African Cup of Nations. But, is that what we deserve as a country? I don't mind if Ethiopia or Kenya beat us in long distance races. I don't mind because, this is their own area of comparative advantage. But when it comes to football, where we know we have ruled the world on the age group level for many years, we have won under-17 World Cup several times. We have played in the finals of under-20 World Cup several times. We have been playing in World Cup proper since 1994. And instead of making progress, we are retrogressing. We are not making progress, no matter what anybody wants to talk about. The disturbing aspect of our performance this last edition and in the 10 years really is because I believe that Amadou Pinnick led NFF. I'm not a fan of whoever is there. But the truth is, they have done well in terms of organization, in terms of sponsorship, in terms of getting our players ready for major competitions. But I do not think that those efforts have translated in the kind of result that Nigeria deserves. The head coach or technical advisor or whatever name they call him, Ron, doesn't appear to have what it takes to take Nigeria to the next level. He has not really impacted much on the national team. He has still experimented. I don't believe in him. I don't believe in his tactics. I don't believe he has done well. I don't believe that the huge amount of money he's taking, that we can use that money and get better coaches either home or abroad. So I think we should really tell ourselves the truth. My problem with the NFF is they don't appear to see the flaws of the coach. They have given this coach everything he wants. So why is he not performing? Why is he not delivering? That is my concern.
All right, welcome back. We are coasting home now, and we are talking about the All-African Games where Nigeria will be participating. Oluchi just told me now that it is no longer All-African Games. The All has been removed. It is now Africa Games. So the African Games will be coming up in Morocco. Nigeria will be participating in about 17 sporting events or so, but the major thing is for us is athletics. And one elite athlete that is not happy is Blessing Okagbare, saying that they've not been motivated enough. Just $5,000 grant ahead of the games is not good enough to fetch Nigeria medals. I hope we're on the right track for the All-Africa Games, or the Africa Games, so to speak. Oluchi.
Well, I like the fact that she's bold. She wants the best for the athletes. You just don't want to reap where you haven't sowed. That's the message she's trying to pass. What have you done to be involved in our training programs? What have you done to help us with grants? And there is a particular statement she made that I was particularly happy about. It isn't a must that you invite your A athletes. It's also an opportunity.
Well, if we don't invite them for our A athletes, Oluchi, to Africa's own Olympics, where would they be competing for us?
That is why when these athletes they come of age and they don't perform very well again, we find it difficult to replace them because we do not like the gap. You need to do something about it. If you don't expose players to competitions, if they don't lose and they might come up with a surprise to win, how do you want them to grow? Basically, that is it. We have athletes here. You could also accommodate more athletes. You could also mix them, but you shouldn't just sit down and everything just boils on the foreign-based professionals, whether they are doing well or not.
Okay, Nigeria, you remember, won this games way back in 1973 on home soil. We topped the medals table, and we did it again on home soil in 2003 during Koja. But these are the only 2 times that Nigeria has topped the medals table. Egypt has always dominated, and this time is taking place in Morocco. I don't know, Tony, do you think that for the first time we'll win outside our shores?
It's really going to be very difficult if you want us to
Really?
say the truth. It's really going to be difficult for us, Nigeria, to win outside. And I think you can just see that the problems are
legion.
They are legion, and of course they are manifesting. Blessing Okagbere has just come up now, just talking about the grants that are being paid, $5,000. That is a mega sum. And I think that problem had always lingered, George, when you talked about grants that are being paid. And $5,000 in the eyes of a Nigerian is a very big amount.
But for athletes, this is peanuts.
For athletes, and just for the fact that the athletes, in question, are not domiciled in Nigeria. These are athletes that buy their things, their drinks, everything they do, is all
pay their coaches,
foreign currencies and all those things. And I think that's where the Ministry of Sports comes in. Unfortunately, as we still speak now, we do not have a Minister of Sports. Perhaps anytime from now, that person will come.
But Tony, you are the image maker of NOC, and NOC are the owners of these African Games.
Yes, the Nigeria Olympic Committee, they have been
and they are supposed to be giving grants to these athletes.
They are the ones that have been giving these grants of $5,000 US dollars to these elite athletes. And George, it's not just about the NOC, the money that the NOC also tries as much as possible to get grants from the IOC. I do not know exactly why Blessing Okagbere is complaining now. I do know that the IOC, through the NOC, they get grants for Nigerian elite athletes. And sometimes, the elite athletes could be 8, which definitely will not get around. But all I know is that throughout my stay, I know that Blessing Okagbere has been blessed so well that if there are 5 Nigerians that will get grants, that she will get a grant. But I think, starting this complaint is so early. I think it's something that can as well, be talked about and then see a way of helping the athletes.
Okay, AFN held their trials in at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna last week, and maybe we'll just try and get Femi Adetula, who is the current image maker of NOC, into the show one of these days to speak to us. But as usual, we'll caught up with the technical director of AFN, talk about Sunday Adeleye. He shared his thoughts with us on the show. Hello, Sunday.
Well, I want to actually say, as the technical director of Athletics Federation of Nigeria, I am well briefed that the ministry is actually on top of it, and then they're actually trying to meet up with the needs and demands of the athletes. Of course, as athletes, you have to always be Oliver Twist or something. They want to ask for more or for better, So everybody wants the athletes to do well. If you want the athletes to do well, we look at the welfare package of the athlete. And I'm sure the ministry is actually doing a lot right now to see that these athletes are happy. The top athletes, the foreign-based athletes out there, they've been competing. And then, of course, athletics is not Ludo. So in athletics, your performances, we compete week in, week out. And once it's week in, week out, you have the performances of these athletes. So it's not like, okay, they didn't come home for the trials, then they are not, probably they're in check or in doubt. So we've been following with the statistics of our athletes. We're watching that. And then, of course, with the combination of the home-based athlete, we think we're good to go.
All right, thank you very much, Sunday Adeleye from Kaduna. He spoke to us all the way from the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna, and that was nice. He was sharing his thoughts with us, and we hope Nigeria will do well at the Africa Games that will come up later in the year. And before we go, let's quickly give you the upcoming events, because time is not our friend now. But let's tell you that from August 5, we'll be talking about the Canadian Open. That's about tennis. And then August 9 to 18, the 2019 Women's Afro Basket will be taking place in Mali. And then August 13, you talk about the Mind Games Premier Championship qualifiers that will be coming up in Lagos. And August 13, the EPL season will be kicking off. And before August 13, you talk about the Community Shield that is coming up today. Man City taking on Liverpool. These two teams have not really bought so many players. They did well last season, and they are keeping their acts the way it was last season. After all, when you have a winning team, you don't change it. So after the lull, now, like they say in music, after the reggae, you play the blues. We are going to dance the blues again from next week. But today, the Community Shield, 3 p.m.
Yes, I must tell you that a whole lot of Nigerians, they look forward to the EPL. I hope that we'll get to a time that our own Nigerian league will wait eagerly, waiting for when it will commence. It looks like a play toy now, but I must tell you that when you try, and strive to do the best, people will still catch up with the rhythm.
Tony, who do you give this game to? Man City, Liverpool? Premiership leaders and Champions League winners.
Yeah, it's really going to be difficult, but all the same, I think my stakes are behind Man City, not just on this game. The EPL that almost everybody is looking up to. I see that team
winning
doing a lot of back-to-back, and George Oyedema, has also stoked up a controversy in making equal pay for Super Eagles and Super Falcons.
That is our paradox here. She said they want gender equality. If you are playing Super Eagles $10,000 per win, you should be paying men $10,000 the same thing. But that's the show. But before we go, let's throw this one at you. They said Arsenal's back four is God help us. I hope Arsenal fans will prove them wrong at the end of the day. We'll see you next week.
Why are you hitting us?
Okay, Tony, I just cut in. Well, they said it is Arsenal's back four is God help us. But the Gunners, they said they are not parading Dengon this year.
Why? You're not talking about Barcelona, which is your team. You're just focusing on Arsenal. And you see that Arsenal, they are doing well. They have signed Anagurian, I think that Arsenal will definitely, come out smoking this season, George.
Okay, let's put our fingers crossed. But Tony, you're talking about Barcelona. Of course, you know that shoe gets size. There's no stopping Barca. That's the show. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye and God bless.